There are a lot of things that cis people will never really understand about being trans, but these are things that they should. If they would actually understand those things that we go through, maybe there would be more love, okay, and more respect and more kindness towards us. So that's why I'm making this video, to basically talk about these things. And maybe some cis person out there who's watching this can understand what we go through a little bit more. And please hear me out, okay? This isn't about attacking anyone. This isn't about calling anyone out. It is just to raise some more awareness. And it's about basically giving you a glimpse of our reality, of my reality, and of the reality of any other person who is transitioning. And in this video, I'm talking about my experiences, but also a lot of other trans people are going through the same things. So some of you can relate. Maybe with some things you will not be able to relate, because obviously everyone's journey is different. But these are, in my opinion, really general things and really common things. First of all, one main point, okay? One main point. It's not just about hormones and surgeries. It is not a checklist that we go through. Because that's one thing that cis people think. They think we literally go through a checklist. Okay, we need to get these surgeries, we need to get on hormones, because we choose those things, okay? We choose to go through them. But it's not really a choice, because the goal here is self-alignment. The goal here is to feel aligned with your true self. And the only way for most of us to get this is through surgeries and is through hormones. Do you really think we put ourselves through countless surgeries, okay, to go through all of those recovery stages, to go through all of the pain, and to have such a high risk of complications just to work through a checklist? We do this because we don't have another option. Because otherwise, if we would not do those things, most of us would fall into a deep depression. Most of us would definitely not enjoy being alive. All these medical steps are just tools, and they are definitely not the definition about being trans. Another thing is, confidence and dysphoria can definitely exist together. We can be confident, but dysphoria can still be there. We can still feel on days like we don't belong into our body, even though we might appear confident. And just because we look in photos, for example on social media, confident, just because I look to you confident, it doesn't mean that dysphoria is completely erased, that there aren't days where I don't feel dysphoric. Dysphoria can still come. Dysphoria can still coexist with confidence. And hey, yes, some days are easier, but there are days that are harder as well. And when we feel dysphoric about our body, about ourselves, that gender dysphoria, that can kill you a little bit on the inside. It's a pain that I cannot even describe to you. When you feel like you don't belong into your body, okay, when you feel like you are not being you, I feel like this is like the most painful thing ever. It's more painful than to go through all of the surgeries combined, okay? Because it hurts so much to not being able to be yourself and not seeing yourself. So just be kind, because you don't know what someone is going through. Even if they appear on the outside confident, it doesn't mean that they're having a good day. Because we are also masters in basically pretending and acting that we feel good, because probably most of us had to do it for a very, very long time. Because we were so scared that other people would basically, realize that there is something different about us. I mean, I have been acting for so many years, acting and pretending that I am comfortable in a woman's body, that I was happy. But as soon as I closed my door, as soon as I was in my room and I closed my door and no one was there around me anymore, I felt miserable. I cried myself to sleep. So please don't assume that just when someone is acting in a confident way and pretending like they're happy, that they're don't experiencing any gender dysphoria. Because some people will say that, okay? Some people will see pictures maybe of me still looking like a woman on some pictures where I'm smiling, and I had people like in the comments say like, you looked so much happier before. I fucking wasn't. I wasn't happier, okay? I was pretending, I was acting to feel confident and to feel comfortable in my body, but I definitely wasn't. Because as soon as I was alone, that when everything would just collapse, that when all those mental breakdowns would come in, that when all those tears would come out. So just please keep that in mind. Another thing about us is that we grieve lost years. I actually grieved my childhood. I did. I grieved as well my teenage years because I was not able to live in my true gender. I'm telling you guys, once I kind of like, well, finished my transition after like bottom surgery was the last part for me that I had to get done. And after I finished that, I kind of, yeah, started to relive my teenage years. Going partying. It wasn't the healthiest way, okay? I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't the healthiest way. But it was necessary because I was grieving so much. I was grieving so much because I was not able to fully enjoy my life as a child and as a teenager. I was not able to enjoy my early 20s really because I was constantly just stuck with gender dysphoria. I was constantly just stuck in my head with not liking myself, not liking my reflection, and I was definitely not living my life. I was not making the experiences that I wanted to make. And a lot of trans people out there are going to grieve this. They are going to grieve their childhood. They are going to grieve their teenagers, their 20s, maybe their 30s even, okay, depending when they start transitioning. They grieve the experiences. Well, we grieve the experiences that we didn't get to live as ourselves. And also, for us, passing isn't the only goal. Obviously, it's one of the main goals, okay? But being seen and respected as who we are matters way more. Because even if someone passes, okay, it doesn't like automatically equal peace. It doesn't automatically mean that we are completely in peace with ourselves. Oh my god, we have achieved the goal of passing. People basically see me now as a man. But it doesn't mean that we have found that inner peace. Especially when people around us still do not see us and do not respect us. You want to be respected for who you are, okay? You want to be seen for who you are. So do the same for us. Because you should treat everyone the same way, no matter whether they're trans, okay? This is not just about being trans, no matter what, okay? You should treat everyone how you want to be treated. And you want to be treated with respect and kindness. So why the fuck are you not doing it for other people as well? And if you are, then, well, you're a great human being, okay? Also, transitioning is lifelong. It doesn't stop. Okay, it's not just a simple before and after. This process for us never really ends because our relationship with our body and our identity just keeps evolving. And this doesn't stop. Like I said, there are going to be days for us that are harder than others. There are going to be days for us that are definitely easier. But our relationship with our true identity, it just keeps evolving and evolving and evolving. And throughout our journey, okay, basically our whole life, we keep thinking about our safety. It's something that is constantly on our mind. Early into our transition, obviously more, because there are going to be things like, okay, which bathroom do I go into? It was the same thing for me, okay? I didn't pass yet to society as a man, okay? Well, I had my hair short, but I was just a couple months on testosterone, and I still had kind of like feminine features in my face, and I felt uncomfortable. I was really worried about my safety because I didn't know in what changing rooms I should go. Obviously, I wanted to go into the men's room, and I also did that, okay? But just because I also didn't feel comfortable enough to go into the women's room. So no matter where I was going, I knew that I would get stared at. I knew that I would get judged. And I was just scared of this the whole time. I was scared, okay? Because I just didn't know what to do. Because safety was constantly on my mind. So the difference here is that cis people, okay, when using bathrooms or being in public spaces or having certain situations, they just simply walk through it. They don't have to think about things like, okay, which bathroom should I use? Will I get stared at? Will I get attacked even? Will I get judged? And these are things that people, well, cis people, don't really have to think about. If you're a woman, you go to the woman's bathroom. If you're a man, you go to the man's bathroom. You don't have to really worry about it. But we constantly do. We are shit scared. Okay, most of us are shit scared to go to a public bathroom, to go to a public changing room, and just being out there in public, because basically of all the hate that there is towards us. And this takes up a lot of energy. Okay, this sucks a lot of mental energy out of us. We feel exhausted. I remember me, okay, when I just started transitioning, and even before my transition, I felt so exhausted about constantly thinking about those things and being out in public. I actually tried to avoid being out in public. I was not going out with friends or whatever. I was not really doing things that I wanted to do and being out a lot because I was so scared, and I knew that, yeah, it would just drain my energy being out, because you cannot just stop these thoughts. You just can't, because we notice the tiniest things. Even if just someone gives us like a side eye, we notice that. Okay, we notice any comments that are about us or could be about us, especially regarding our transition. But obviously we don't just notice the negative things. Okay, we also notice the small things, like being called sir or mister, like when someone uses the correct pronouns, the correct name. We notice those things when someone stands up for us. And I'm telling you, these small moments, okay, just by simply using the correct pronouns, mean the world to us. You don't realize how happy this can make someone. How a simple thing like this could either make or break our day. So when you're using the incorrect pronouns, when you use the incorrect name, you could say, okay, oh, sorry, I forgot. But we might say, it's okay, you didn't get used to it yet. But on the inside, it fucking kills us. It really does. And then we go home and we constantly just think about this one situation that someone has used the incorrect name or the incorrect pronouns. So it's really important that you respect things like this, okay? That you actually make an effort and take a mental note to use the correct pronouns, okay? To use the correct name, to even stand up for us when we can't. Because things like this will always make our day. Those are things that we don't forget. Okay, back then, when I wasn't really passing yet, and people wouldn't use the correct pronouns, I would always say, oh, it's okay. But on the inside, it was killing me. It was seriously killing me. But on the other hand, when someone was actually using the correct pronouns, was calling me Jay, it actually made my day. There are things and situations that I didn't forget. And I'm so grateful for certain people for standing up for me, for being there for me, for making an effort to make me feel comfortable by using my correct name and my correct pronouns. Those are things that I will never forget in my entire lifetime. I will forever be grateful for those people. But there are also things and situations that weren't that nice, when people weren't really kind to me, where they were just being really disrespectful. And unfortunately, those are situations that we don't forget as well. Stuff like this can seriously traumatize us. So if you have someone, okay, who is trans, who's going through this in your life, just think about that. Make a serious effort to make them feel comfortable, to be there for them, to use the correct pronouns, to use the correct name. And talking about all of these points, I want to give you like a little perspective shift. If you have always felt at home in your body, you never experienced any gender dysphoria. Now imagine living every day feeling disconnected from it, feeling disconnected from yourself and from your body. And that's why transitioning isn't about trends or choices. It's about survival. This is how we survive. Because if we do not transition, for most of us, there is no way that we can keep on living like this anymore. And that's why exactly there are so many trans people out there who are at risk as suicide. I was at risk as well before I came out, before I started transitioning. Okay, there were times where I wanted to end all of this. And sorry guys, I'm getting a bit emotional because this is a deep topic. But there were times where I didn't want to do this anymore. Okay, there were times where I actually wanted to end all of this. And I feel like that a lot of cis people, especially all of those transphobes, don't realize that this isn't about choices, okay? This is not something we choose to go through. What we choose here is to survive. We do all of this to simply survive. I don't know why this just got me so emotional. I'm sorry. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to kind of change your perspective a little bit, to give you a glimpse of our reality. And I want to thank you if you're cis and you have watched this video until the end, because it shows to me that you are basically making an effort to understand us more. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this. And I also invite you to share this with others. Okay, share this with others who might need to understand this a little bit more, because this is a video from basically my perspective, from how I perceive reality, from my experiences, and a lot of experiences that other trans people have as well. And for my trans viewers out there, just know that you are not alone. I know it might be difficult. I know it hurts, but you're not alone. You are strong and you will get through this. And if you need people to talk to, then join my community. Join Build Different. Everything you need in one place. I talk a lot about transitioning. I talk a lot about building self-worth, building confidence, okay? Becoming comfortable in your own body. Even things like fitness and nutrition, mindset, just everything that you need during your transition. All the support is in there. There are a lot of other great guys in there, okay? Great people in there. So if you don't have anyone to talk to, this is where you can feel safe to talk about what you're going through. The link is in the description if you're interested to join. Thank you for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.